How's it going, everybody? This is Pristine Paper back again for another video. And today, I want to show you guys how I find photo matches for some of the cards I purchase on Getty Images, which is a free site. You can pay for it, obviously, but the version and the method I'm going to show you is completely free. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just going to kind of get into it. And the first card or picture or player that we're going to look at is James Harden, and it's from a 2012-2013 Panini Authentic Threads Prime card. And I'm going to put it up on the screen right here, obviously. And it's of James Harden. So when you look at the picture, what are some context clues that you see? They're not going to jump out to you immediately every time. However, this one, it's the first one we're going to look at, so I'm making it kind of easy. You look at the patch on his jersey, and what do you see? You see a NBA Finals patch. Okay, so what can we deduce from that? We can look at when did the 2012-2013 NBA Finals take place. So a simple Google search can tell us that the 2012 NBA Finals took place between the dates of June 12th, 2012 to June 21st, 2012. So that gives us a pretty good small range, which will help us find what we're looking for. So now, the real first step on Getty is to just search in the player's name. So I'm going to search in James Harden. I'm going to click go. Now, obviously, it's going to be quite a large sample size here. As you can see, there's 61,000 images of James Harden throughout all the years. So, it can be quite overwhelming. What we're going to do is we're going to click on this filters tab. We're going to go by the date range. We're going to click on that, and we're going to click on the custom date range. So like I said, the first game was from June 12th, 2012. And the last one was from June 21st, I believe it said. 2012? Oops. Okay. So now that we did that, the filter has gone through. We have 446 images here and 10 events. So that's like about 10 games, maybe something else is, shuffled in the mix there. But now we're just going to start scrolling and looking for the image. And you know what? I just found it right here. This is the image that is on the card. If you click on it, it will tell you that this was from June 17th, 2012 in Miami, Florida. James Harden, number 13 of the Oklahoma City Thunder, controls the ball against the Miami Heat in Game 3 of the 2012 NBA Finals at American Airlines Arena on June 17th, 2012, like I said. So, there we go. That's our first example of photo matching the photo on the card. All right, next, we're going to use a card from actually the same set. It's from 2012-2013 Panini Threads, and it's the Authentic Threads Prime of Derrick Rose. And as you can see here, similar angle and similar shot here of Rose, where it's just kind of a close-up image of him dribbling the ball. And this time, there's not a big context clue jumping out at us like there was with the Harden, with the NBA Finals patch. That kind of gives us a pretty small sample size, like I mentioned before. However, Derrick Rose is wearing a black jersey here, which is not the common colors associated with the Chicago Bulls. This is actually their alternate jersey, which kind of helps us, that's a context clue right there in and of itself. When did the Chicago Bulls wear those black jerseys in 2012-2013? Because that's when this set is from. And like I said, it's usually from the previous season when they're including the photographs. So now that we know kind of some context clues here, let's look up Derrick Rose on Getty to kind of get a clue of when maybe they wore those black jerseys. Derrick Rose. Here we go. And as you can see, there's 23,000 images here, and it's going to include images from his whole career. There's one of him in his Memphis jersey. Here, we're going to click on the filter again, and we know that it's from the season previous to when the set was released, right? So let's put in, we're going to put in June 31st of 2013. Oh, there was no 31st, so just the 30th, 2013. The filter went through. Okay. And it's going by most popular. So there's 288 images here, which is a much easier sample size to look at here. And the first one, we can kind of see there is an image of him wearing a black jersey. And he wore this on April 11th, 2013. So that's a date that we can now pinpoint and search, as a date where he wore a black jersey and look through to see where maybe that's where the photo came from. And honestly, this is a lot of it. It's just scrolling and looking. I mean, there are, like I said, the context clues are great, and that can help narrow your search a lot. But, oftentimes it's just a lot of this, a lot of scrolling, a lot of searching. Let's look at the April 13th or April 11th game. Let's do 04/11/2013. We have put that as the first game to look at. There's still that grander search. And still not seeing anything. So, one more page. Let's just double check. Nope. These aren't even dark rows. So that's what happens sometimes. You look at Getty and you go through pretty deep. You find people that aren't even the people you're looking for. So let me reset the search here. Okay, so we're back to that general Derrick Rose search. And I'm now realizing I might have put in the wrong dates when I first looked. I think there are some dates within 2012 that I excluded. So let's look through the custom range again. What I think we should do is look at the 2011-12 season, as this is from the 2012-13 set, which is the season we looked at before was the following season. So that's not the correct one. Now let's look at 10/31/2011, and we'll look at let's put up until June of 2012, right? So we'll do 06/30 of 2012. Okay, now we have 1,298 images, 76 events, and we can look through. Oh, here's another one. March 7th, 2012. It's another date we can look at. And like I said, we're still searching. So this is not the easiest thing, and you definitely need to have patience because, again, there's another date, January 10th. These don't always jump right out at you. You have to dig and search sometimes, which is part of the fun of it, right? You're basically finding something that no one has really found outside of perhaps Panini using the photo. No one has found where the source material is from, or at least it's not been published. So it's kind of fun, almost like you are, discovering a new land, right? So we're still searching here. And you know what? As I'm talking, I think we found a picture. April 25th of 2012. It's this game right here against the Indiana Pacers. So you're going to click on the image. Right here. That's the image. Indianapolis, Indiana, April 25th. Derrick Rose, number 1 of the Chicago Bulls, handles the ball during the game between the Indiana Pacers and the Chicago Bulls on April 25th, 2012, at Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. So there we go. That's the same exact image right there of him assessing the court and holding the ball. So there we go. As I said, it might have taken a little bit longer if I didn't keep scrolling. If we looked at some of those other dates we found first, and kind of gone through and just marked cross those off the list as not the correct game, then yeah, it could have taken a little bit longer. But we did end up finding it in the end, so that's really nice. On to the next one. All right, guys, in this third and final card we are going to be looking at is this 2018-19 Panini Mosaic Kyrie Irving Gold number 10. So, this image here is of Kyrie Irving on the Celtics from 2018-19. His first season with the team was 17-18. Now, when we look up Kyrie Irving, we can look up his 2 years with the team, which would give us a smaller sample size than either of the previous two that we have looked at. But again, there's not a ton of context clues in this photograph itself. No patches and nothing else, no specific jersey color. It's, one of the main two colors the team uses, so it's a little bit of a bigger range. And as you can see here, just the general search of Kyrie Irving brings up almost 46,000 images. So we're going to do the obviously custom date range here, and we're going to look at perhaps October of 2017, up until, let's say, June of 2019, which is a bigger window than I'd like to look at, but it's just a starting point, right? So here we go. We have 7,300 images of Kyrie Irving from this time period, and we're going to scroll through and look here. A lot of this stuff is extracurricular to the NBA, as you can see here, a lot of interviews and other stuff. This is before Kyrie was kind of blackballed. Okay, here we go. We're getting into some more gameplay images. 100 pages, right? So that's quite a lot. Here is a similar photograph, however, not the same. Actually, I recognize this photograph. This is used in his, I think it's his 2019 Prism. So that's interesting. I found that one. But that's not what we're looking for. So here we go. We're going to keep looking, right? And you know what? A context clue, now that I'm remembering and looking at these pictures, is perhaps his haircut, right? So in the image that we are looking at on the card, his hair is relatively short. And as you can see in perhaps this image, for example, it is pretty long in May of 2019. So perhaps when he was and this is in March of 2019. Interesting. So perhaps it's not as good of an indicator as I thought. However, it might give us some more clues as to how he wore his hair earlier with his time with the Celtics. See, more of the shorter style. So let's more so look at perhaps the 2018-19 season. Let me go back to my filters and rearrange it a little bit. Let's put this at 18 instead of 17. Kind of shorten our search a tiny bit. Okay, we've deduced it by half, which is pretty good. So we're going to keep just scrolling here. There's some more images of him in the white jersey here. 60 pages. Not terrible, but we will obviously like to reduce that if possible, unless the image just jumps out at us right here as we're looking. So again, the best thing to do also is to look at dates of some of the images where he's wearing the white jersey, write them down, and then do your own search after. We are still looking here. And another thing to realize is that he was not wearing a jersey with the gold outline. So it was this white only jersey. So that's a good indicator too, to not confuse them. And like I said with the Derrick Rose, this is a lot of scrolling and you need to be patient, especially if you want to do it. Oh, and as I'm saying, we need to be patient. We have found the image. It's right here. I'm going to click on it. It's from January 21st of 2019. And it was taken by Brian Babineau. So, kind of a legend in the local, sports garden photography. Now, this image was taken, like I said, on January 21st in Boston, Massachusetts. Kyrie Irving, number 11 of the Boston Celtics, shoots the ball against the Miami Heat on January 21st, 2019 at the TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, this is the exact image that we have on the card. So there you have it. Overall, that is how you find images on Getty that you want to find for your sports cards. So it's not a foolproof method, and again, it is pretty time consuming, and if at all you can find the image, it really depends on the context clues in the photograph. However, I hope you guys did enjoy this and found some interesting information here. And I hope maybe you guys can find some, images that on your cards and photo match those as well. And if you do, comment below and let me know, or, send me a DM on Instagram at pristine_paper. But, without further ado, I'm just going to peace out here and say bye. See you later.